favor? Could you grab my phone out of the envelope in the back there? I've got I've got a note that I saved in there. I'm hearing two words. And the two words, I'm never going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm hearing two words. Lean in. Lean in. I know a bunch of us are in the middle of, not all of us, but a bunch of us are in the middle of difficult circumstances. Your natural instinct is to fly away. It's written in the Psalms. Oh, you can hear the heart of the writer in the Psalm when he says, oh, if I had wings of a dove, I would just fly away. When you're in the press, you want to run. Oh. And the things go through your head like, why am I doing this? I just I used to say this back some years ago when I had a Harley. I said, I just want to get on a Harley and go and leave everything behind. All the stresses, all the problems, all the issues. I just want to escape. And then the still small voice comes in your head, which is the Holy Ghost. And the Holy Ghost says, lean in, press in. But I don't see a good outcome. I don't see anything on the horizon that gives me the optimism to do that. Except what he wrote in here. And I'm not talking about just, a depression. I'm talking about the reality that hits you square in the face. Can you run the rock? I've run this before, and I'm going to run it again because it is a great piece of encouragement when you're in that valley where God is saying, press in, and you don't want to. It's the last thing that you want to do. But what's going to change you into the image and likeness of Jesus Christ is when you press in and you make it through to the other side. Because the running away, he's just going to bring you around the mountain one more time. He's just going to bring it'll be a different set of circumstances, but in essence, it'll be the same thing again because he's after a change in you. He's not trying to kill you. He's not trying to crush you. Nick, you work out. What do you bench?
It don't matter.
Okay. But when you go to the next level, let's say you're pressing a certain amount and you say, all right, I want to step it up. I want to go to the next level. The first time you do that, does it automatically work? No. It's like, I should just stay with the weight that I'm comfortable with. But that's not going to build new muscle. And there's the Holy Ghost sitting on the other side of the bench, throwing another weight on. You say, I can't do this. I can't do this. You get to a place where I can't do this. And he says, press in, you can. But press in, I will be with you. Ain't a lot of fun. All right, go ahead. You've probably seen this before. It says it all. This is the whole message right here.
How you doing?
Turn it up a little bit.
Can I talk with you?
Sure.
You outside? So you're going through with this?
Yeah, I start trading tomorrow.
You're up. I made some connections. I can make some money on this endorsements.
Absolutely, do that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So you're nervous about the fight?
I'm scared to death.
You don't look scared?
I ain't supposed to.
And you don't have to do it.
Yeah, well, I think I do.
You know, living with you, it hasn't been easy. People see me, but they think of you. Now with all this going on, this is going to be worse than ever.
It don't have to be.
No, sure it does.
Why? You got a lot going on, kid.
Well, my last name? That's the reason I got a decent job. That's the reason why people deal with me in the first place. Now I start to get a little ahead. I start to get a little something for myself. And this happens. Now I'm asking you as a favor not to go through with this, okay? This is only going to end up bad for you. It's going to end up bad for me.
You think I'm hurting you?
Yeah, in a way you are.
It's the last thing I ever wanted to do.
I know that's not what you want to do, but that's just the way that it is. Don't you care what people think? Doesn't it bother you that people are making you out to be a joke and that I'm going to be included in that? Do you think that's right? Do you?
Hold up 1 second. Hold it right there.
Well, you used to fit right here.
So that's a conversation with two people. But that could just as well be the conversation you have with yourself. The voice of the son is the defeatist attitude. The voice of dad is God's voice. And who are we going to listen to? The voice of the son, the negativity, or the voice of the father that says it doesn't have to be that way? Whoa. What do people think? What does the voice of negativity always say? What is everybody going to think? And who are we supposed to care about who thinks about us? Audience of one. He says at the very beginning, can you rewind that a little bit to the part where they're outside? Yeah, right about there.
Yeah, well, I think I do.
Okay, stop right there. He says, the son says, you don't have to do this. When a trial comes up close and personal, is right in your face, what does the enemy say to you? You don't have to do this. Take the easy way out. Don't press in. Find an easy way. Go around the situation. Run away from the situation. Avoid the situation. Okay, go ahead.
You know, living with you, it hasn't been easy. People see me, but they think of you. Now
Okay, stop there. Living as a Christian is not easy. There's an expectation of the world that you live a godly life. That ain't easy. That ain't easy. You look around you and you say, geez, all these unsaved people, they got it so easy. All these sinners around me doing whatever they want to do, they got an easy life. Here I am trying to do the right thing, and I'm going through hell. It doesn't seem fair. God never said it would be fair. In this world, you'll have tribulation. At least he was honest and upfront about what you'd expect. Okay, let's play a little more.
Going on is going to be worse than ever.
It don't have to be.
No, sure it does.
Why? You got a lot going on, kid.
Well, my last name? That's the reason I got a decent job.
Okay.
That's the reason.
He says, with that last name, who's your father? What's the expectation that you need to live up to? Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. I gotta live up to that? Yeah, you do, but not on your own strength. This little clip is so prophetic. It's unreal. Okay, keep going.
This is why people deal with me in the first place. Now I start to get a little ahead. I start to get a little something for myself. And this happens. Now I'm asking you as a favor.
Hold it there. Do you ever feel like that? Where you just feel like you're starting to get ahead and the rug gets pulled out from underneath you? You're just seeing a little bit of daylight and wham, something happens. My granddaughter, I got this Jeep 6 months ago. Customer had it in their backyard. Been sitting there since 15, so 8 years, been sitting in the yard. The owner passed away. So I made an arrangement with his mom. I bought the Jeep for her. Been working on it for 6 months. Fixing this, changing that. Had all kinds of problems. I'm gonna be really raw and honest. So we get it running after a lot of issues. And this week I got it on the road, the tag, got it insured, needs tires, needs a few other things. I'm gonna tell you a story, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it's brutally honest. We get it running, and the engine has a miss. One of the cylinders isn't firing. You know, you hear this pop, 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 pop. It's like something's not right. That could be one of a dozen things. And I'm like, Lord, I don't know how to figure out what this is. I mean, I know a little bit about cars, but I'm like, you know, you can go through the trial and error method, which is to buy something and see if it fixes it, you know. So I get a dream the other night, out of the blue. And in the dream, I'm staring at a distributor cap on the Jeep. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That sounds like that's insane. I said, well, so I went down and bought a distributor cap. Put it on there. The miss was gone. It's fixed. So she takes it out yesterday on the road, just a short ride, just to test it out. She comes back, the engine's knocking. Wasn't knocking when I left. You're a hard knock. And I feel that rug getting yanked from underneath me. I'm like, all of this work, I mean, that's engines with a knock like that, that doesn't go away. You know, you can't put more oil in it and fix it, you know, I mean, it's bad. And I want to fly away, because there's so much time, there's a lot of money put in this, and just like, I just want to run away. And there's that still small voice when I woke up this morning, lean in, press in, don't quit. But I want to, no. There's no place to quit to. There's no place to run to. All right, keep going.
Not to go through with this, okay? This is only gonna end up bad for you, and it's gonna end up bad for me.
You think I'm hurting you?
Yeah, in a way you are.
It's the last thing I ever wanted to do.
I know that's not what you want to do, but that's just the way that it is. Don't you care what people think? Doesn't it bother you that people are making you out to be a joke and that I'm going to be included in that? Do you think that's right? Do you?
Here's the voice of the Father to you.
You ain't gonna believe this. Well, you used to fit right here. I'd hold you up and say to your mother, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day. It was like a privilege. And the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always gonna love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son after my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing yourself, you're gonna have a life. Don't forget to visit your mother.
God's always going to love you no matter what. No matter what. But how hard can you get hit and keep going forward is the question. No one got hit harder than Jesus. No one. He's our example. He's our example. I've told you this a number of times, and I went through this on Wednesday night, but I'm going to repeat it. My landscaping business has been hit and robbed a number of times. Thousands of dollars over the last 3 or 4 years. Monday, we got robbed again. A brand new $600 blower that was to replace the one from when we got robbed a month ago. Now, the outcome of this one is a little bit different because we finally smarted up and put in a GPS tracker inside the blower. And within a few minutes after it was gone, we were able to trace it through GPS. Brent gets to the pawn shop because the people who stole it went directly to a pawn shop. He gets to the pawn shop just a couple of minutes after they sold it. $600 blower that they sold for $150. The owner of the pawn shop was pretty surprised, to say the least. Like, how did you know, and how did you get here so fast? finally, we've caught somebody who robbed us. I called the police, asked for police, waited 2.5 hours for them to show up. But it was a busy, there's a lot of storms and whatever. The officer was about 14 years old. I think it was his second day on the job. He's a replacement for defunded police. I had a little explaining for him to do. It's just, anyway, that's a sermon for another day. While we were at the counter in the pawn shop, and because they had the driver's license and all that, and while he was distracted, I did what any good New Yorker would do. I looked to see the address and name of the person. Said, well, I'm going to pay him a little visit. My New Yorker's not completely gone, okay? Forget about it. See, because of all the times that we've been robbed and did not catch anybody, now I finally caught somebody, and all of that pent up anger is festering on this one. Well, it was actually a couple. It looks like the man stole it, and in true gentleman fashion, he put the woman up to go pawn it. And the theft is a misdemeanor, but the pawning is a felony. So she's getting hung with the felony. It's a way to take care of your woman. And I took a ride to the house. After this whole thing, police said they're gonna pay him a visit and do all of that, but it was so bugging me. And I took a ride, went to the house. They were on the front porch. They were a little surprised to see somebody pull up with a landscape truck. I didn't want to go on their property, but I yelled, I was right in front of the house, and I yelled in and said, oh, hey, by the way, the backpack blower that you stole is right here in my truck. I just left the pawn shop. And you're going to be getting a visit from Asheville Police Department, detectives. And oh, by the way, selling it to the pawn shop's a felony. But unfortunately, I watched The Chosen. Go ahead and play that clip. This is where it gets interesting.
You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not reverse that eye. Resist the one who is evil. And if anyone should slap you on your right cheek, turn and give him the other one also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the law? Your own Father knows what you do before you ask him. Pray then like this. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. And if anyone should force you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our
Okay, that's good. So what starts working in me is, did I do this the way God would want me to do it? The word says that his ways are higher than our ways. And I began to wonder, is this an opportunity that I don't want to miss? I mean, I blew off my steam because I was mad. The Bible says, be angry and sin not. And I didn't want, if God was using this as an opportunity, I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So I had her name because she pawned it, but I didn't have the guy's name, but that's okay. I had the address. And so that day, actually the next morning I wrote a note. And this is what I wrote. And I'm not going to use her name because I'm praying that she comes in here. I'll just use the first initial T. It's easy to steal from someone you don't know, isn't it? Faceless, nameless, grab and go. Well, let me tell you a little about the person that you stole from. I'm a pastor of a local small church called RANT. I do landscaping to pay my bills because the church is very small. I'm a single grandfather with 3 adopted children from an abusive home. I also semi-adopted another young man who's currently in prison. Selling stolen property or pawning it for money is a felony, and that's what you're going to be charged with. The sad part is that if you knew me and you really needed the money, the $150, I would have found a way to give it to you. I'm one of those crazy, weird people that actually lives the Bible, or tries to. I said, so what's your story? How did you get to the place where you felt the need to steal? Does it now feel good to know that you stole a brand new $600 blower from a pastor with grandkids? I said, if your heart is touched and you want to change your life and turn it around, please let me know. I put it in one of the church business cards. I don't want to do that stuff. I want to take him out of the back, behind the back of the building, and beat the snot out of him. Okay? I'm being honest. But this says I needed to approach the situation a little bit differently. I needed to look at the bigger picture instead of how did it impact me? Because conflicts usually boil down to, well, how does it affect me? And that's not how we're supposed to look at situations. We're supposed to look at the situation with the other person in mind. I don't know. I know they got it because I mailed it from Asheville. They live in Asheville. So I know they got it. I haven't heard anything. But I hope that the words kind of run through their mind, that run through their head. And I either get a phone call, they have the address of the church. We're supposed to handle things differently. We're supposed to handle things the way that he says to handle them if we really want results. Now, I've done my part. They can either respond or not respond. When I pulled up to the house, all I heard back was, "We don't know anything about that. We didn't take anything." Of course, right? But I don't know their situation. Maybe they felt like that's the only way they know how to survive. Maybe that's how they were brought up. I have no clue. But all I'm obligated to do is to handle it the way that he says to handle it, and then leave the results to him. I don't know what kind of, I know a little bit about some people's trials, difficulties that they're facing right now. But I just want to say, we don't have an option. I'm sort of blowing off a little steam, but we don't have an option to handle our situations any different than on how he says to do it. Okay? Yeah. It's all in the book. It's all in the book. Every situation is a choice. The best I can say is take a deep breath and make a decision. I'm going to handle my trial. I'm going to handle my crisis. I'm going to handle my situation the way that he says to handle it. If there's to be any success at all in any of those conflicts, it's got to be done his way. It's not easy. I get it. I tell these stories so you know that it's no different for me. I don't have it all together. I felt like when I was blowing off my steam in front of the house, like, I really didn't. I really didn't. But I didn't want to leave it there. I didn't want to leave it there. Jesus was hanging on the cross. After everything, was able to say, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Can you imagine what that must have taken to be able to say that? And we think our situations are so big. And anybody suffered any more than he did. That's a part of Christianity you just don't hear preached. But it's at the core of what it takes to change us. It's at the core of what we need to be And we're only going to get there by being in those situations. Not by believing that we're that, but by being in those situations and pressing in and saying, I'm not going to quit it. I'm going to lean in and let the situation do its work in me that it needs to do, and I will come out the other side. Okay. No matter what the younger voice is saying, no matter what the situation is, no matter what people think, no matter what the consequences look like they're going to be. Trust God, trust His word, leave the consequences to Him. Okay? Okay, I'm done. Take us out. Not literally, okay? Take us to the end, yeah.